If you want to be more efficient and effective while running your business with more inner peace, then working on the core of your issues instead of putting on a band-aid is vital. Welcome to the Business Brain Podcast.
I'm your host, Esty Rapport, and here to help you improve your 28 cognitive functions, the 28 things that make up thinking. In each episode, we'll discuss a real-life challenge, why you might be struggling with it, and give you practical strategies so all areas of your life will improve.
When I met James for the first time, the first thing I noticed, besides his bright smile, was how long-winded he spoke. It wasn't a surprise to me when James shared that one of his biggest struggles was being able to sell or communicate progress with his current clients. It was affecting the way he showed up at his work and his bank account. At the end of the program, James had a much easier time expressing himself clearly and cohesively, had more than doubled his clientele, and best of all, it didn't feel like extra work. If you're experiencing something similar, I'm here to tell you, you do not have to struggle forever. In this episode 465, the Business Brain Podcast, I want to share with you the exact steps of what you can do to have your own transformation. But first, do you struggle with procrastination, distraction, time management, or overwhelm? What if it was no longer a struggle, and not because of some superficial hack, because rather your brain just no longer struggles with it? It is possible because we can create neural connections in your brain where these challenges are no longer a challenge. Learn more about how we can work together to make this happen at lifefixuniversity.com/OYB. While you are doing any task, you, without even realizing it, are using your 28 thinking skills. But the thinking skills you need to use are strong. Doing the task happens easily. If the thinking skills you need to use is weak, doing the task will be a challenge. The struggle that James had came from a weak thinking skill of giving a thoughtful response and comparisons. Do you remember how in episode 462, we spoke about how some thinking skills are built on top of other thinking skills? In episode 462, we spoke about how Vicky and her weak thinking skill of considering another person's perspective was a challenge because her thinking skill of orientation in space was weak. In James' case, he also had one weak thinking skill that was getting in the way of another weak thinking skill. His thinking skill of giving a thoughtful response was stuck because his thinking skill of comparisons was weak. Giving a thoughtful response is something that many people with ADHD struggle with. They jump right in and start talking without fully processing what they are saying, so what they are saying is not expressed very clearly and cohesively. More often than not, someone who's talking long-winded and is having a hard time giving a thoughtful response is because of another thinking skills. In James' case, it was comparisons. Comparisons is being able to compare at least two items or concepts on the same parameter, on the same level. Often we'll say things like, I like item A because it is white, and I like item B because it is 8 inches long. One is talking about color, while the other is talking about size. This is not comparing on the same level, on the same parameter. It would be better to compare by saying A is white, B is blue, A is 6 inches, B is 8 inches. What happens when information is not compared well in our brain is that we're missing some vital information, what makes it challenging for us to understand the situation and make decision. The information is more blurry in our brain, and general causes us to talk less clearly and less cohesively. By improving his thinking skill of comparisons, he made it a lot easier for Robert to express his thoughts in a way where his clients would understand easily and quickly. Here are some exercises we did to get better at comparisons. All these exercises are about comparing on the same parameter. They just move up in complexity and level of abstractness. So first thing you want to do is take two random items around you and compare them. Best way to do this is to create a chart. On the top of the chart, you put the two items, and then on the side of the chart, you put all the parameters you're going to compare it on: color, size, texture, price, origin, etc. And then you fill out the chart accordingly. Once you've done such a chart with actual items, make another chart, but this time pick up items that are not around you, items that you need to think about. It's that bit more challenging when you have to envision it instead of it being right there in front of you. Number 3 is think about two abstract concepts and compare those. For example, compare two tasks or two of your funnels or two of your character traits or two clients, things that aren't really tangible. That's clear. That's well, you're able to fill out that chart. Remember, with putting those two, let's say funnels, funnel A and funnel B on top, and all the parameters on the side and then fill out that whole chart. If you're really up for the challenge and you really feel comfortable filling out those charts, you can go up to level 4, where instead of writing it out, you do this while talking with your family and friends. Whenever you are explaining something to someone or need to make a decision, explain your thought process through parameters. While you do this, it will most definitely take you longer to talk, but it will also create new neural connections in your brain and organize information in a clear and cohesive way. So back to our example, if you are making a decision between A and B, don't just say like, oh, I want A. Say A is white, B is blue, A is 6 inches, B is 8 inches. Because it is most important to me that I have the 8 inches one, I'm going to go to B. Over time, as you talk like this, you will start noticing it will happen in your brain automatically, and you won't need to say it, and you will be able to express yourself clearly and cohesively without talking about the full parameters. Just a quick reminder, the reason you may be struggling with giving a thoughtful response may be because of a different weak thinking skill. A thinking skill of labeling tends to be another popular thinking skill that gets in the way of giving a thoughtful response. If that is your case, check out episode 459. When there is a weak thinking skill of giving a thoughtful response, it is often due to another weak thinking skill. Common thinking skill that gets in the way is comparisons. Your challenge this week is to take the comparisons exercises to a challenging spot. How far up the ladder can you go? Number 1, compare 2 items that are around you. Number 2, compare 2 items just by thinking about them. Number 3, compare 2 abstract items. And number 4, compare items without writing it down, just by talking about it. Remember, you've got to compare your items on the same parameter, on the same level, in order for this to work. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye for now.
That's all for this episode of the Business Brain Podcast. If you enjoyed it, please share it with 2 of your business friends so they too can gain from it, and you'll be helping us reach our goal of 1 million downloads by the end of 2025. Cheers to peak brain performance.